Growing up in Berk is a terrifying experience. Dragons are constantly attacking you, your village are a bunch of Vikings, your father, the chief, neither has time for you nor thinks you have the potential to slay a dragon, much less lead the people in his stead. But you do want to slay a dragon, mostly to impress a girl, but also to stop being the village embarrassment. But you're a little guy, weaker than the rest of your cohort. How could you possibly kill a dragon? Hiccup is probably one of the greatest deprogrammers of all time. Think about it. The people of Berk have legitimate reasons to hate dragons. They steal food, burn down houses, and kill villagers. Children are told from birth that it's a kill or be killed world when it comes to dragons, and in the course of 3 films, Hiccup deprograms himself, his father, his village, and the odd dragon trapper along the way. Hiccup's soft heart and intense curiosity bring him to challenge the village's long-held beliefs about the sinister nature of dragons, and in following his curiosity, Hiccup is able to befriend a night fury, the most terrifying of dragons. He takes the time to learn about and communicate with his new bud, and so, with his newfound knowledge, Hiccup starts performing well at dragon training. Everyone can see that he's using new techniques, non-violent techniques, to command these massive beasts. Even if they don't quite register that his new approach to dragons completely defies what society has taught them. And then Astrid finds out. She feels so betrayed by Hiccup. How could he put his lot in with these monsters that have been raiding their home for generations? Astrid is so hard and tough and defensive for the first part of this film. As she says,
"Is this some kind of a joke to you? Our parents' war is about to become ours."
Astrid doesn't fall for Hiccup because he's the master of dragons. For the first time in her life, a dragon, a night fury, was shown to be harmless, friendly, even wonderful. And giving her this experience, Hiccup helps Astrid feel safe, a feeling low in supply in Berk. Here in the Deprogrammer's playbook, we give people tangible, experiential proof that there's an alternative way to exist in the world. More importantly, we transform their fear and uncertainty into safety and security. But that's one person. In order for Hiccup to convince the village, first he must convince his father. Not an easy task, considering Stoic never has the time or bandwidth to listen to his son. Hiccup has been doing well at dragon training, so decides to show everyone in the village, including his father, that the non-violent methods for handling dragons can be successful. This of course backfires because Stoic is still terrified of dragons and fears for his son's life. This then escalates to Stoic disowning Hiccup. He feels absolutely betrayed by his son. The idea that Hiccup would side with the beasts who killed his mother and attacked their village is gut-wrenching. And refusing to kill the dragon, Hiccup essentially rejects Stoic's life's work. But still, Hiccup tries. He's able to turn his cohort, mostly because they've been shielded from adult trauma and have seen Hiccup's success with non-violent methods. But also Astrid. Quite a bit of Hiccup's success in convincing the villagers throughout the series comes from Astrid backing him. She carries a lot of political sway in Berk.
I don't see a way of staying here any longer.
Hey! Hear him out!
It's not until Stoic's back is up against a wall, that his ships have been burnt down and he's trying to distract this massive dragon from the fleeing Vikings, that he takes his son's ideas to heart. When all of the kids come riding in on dragons, not just Hiccup, it proves that anyone could train a dragon. And then the kids by themselves with dragons, defeat the big scary dragon and save the people of Berk. In order for Stoic to change his beliefs, he literally had to see dragons succeed in saving the lives of his people. Which leads us to Valka. Apparently she gets a lot of hate for abandoning Hiccup. I don't really vibe with this take. Let's just set aside that there's a double standard for men and women when it comes to children, that it's considered a small shame for a man to leave his children, but it's the end of the world if a woman abandons her children. Let's just set that aside. There was absolutely no pathway for Valka to deprogram the villagers of their hatred towards dragons. She tried telling people, but they wouldn't listen. Stoic definitely didn't listen to her. As much love as he has for her, he didn't value her opinion back in the day. Hiccup was able to succeed in his deprogramming efforts partially because he was Stoic's son, partially because he had the backing of the younger Vikings, and partially because he got lucky enough to stumble into the one situation that would hold his father's attention. There's no one else in the story who could have succeeded. Valka's identity was also being quashed in Berk. Everyone was literally rejecting the idea of making peace with dragons, and that's her whole thing. Everything that Hiccup experiences in the first film, of people ignoring him, thinking of him as the village idiot, wanting him to change completely. Valka probably experienced that too.
But you just pointed to all of me. Yes.
She's also an explorer and a scientist, a dragon taxonomist. She wouldn't have been able to pursue any of her passions on Berk. I can't imagine that it would have been a happy home life if one of your parents was a depressed weirdo because society actively denied their identity. Valka in the flashbacks is all beige and whatever. Valka in the present is so colorful and full of life. Let's also be clear that Stoic's position inherently means he must put his village first. It's implied that Stoic goes on quite a few expeditions, which means he's not home for a good chunk of time. When he is home, he's not particularly emotionally available to his son. Also, what if he died during one of those expeditions? Stoic puts the needs of the village before the needs of his son. Does that make him a bad parent? Both Stoic and Valka prioritize their higher calling. If their positions had been swapped, if Stoic had gone to create a safe haven for dragons, and Valka stayed to protect Berk, would he be a controversial character? As someone with an estranged parent, I think the reason that Hiccup forgives Valka so easily is that, aside from finding someone like himself, he does feel genuine love from her. If I thought my estranged parent genuinely cared about me, I would consider reconnecting with them. And to Hiccup's credit, Valka returns to Berk because it is now a place that values her skills and passions. Hiccup made it habitable for her. And when Valka comes back into Hiccup's life, she really commits. She counsels her son, she counsels Astrid. Valka even takes on missions to protect Berk. Once she's seen and accepted by her community, Valka really brings it for everyone. And it's not that Valka didn't want to raise Hiccup. She thought about bringing him to live with her, but decided against it because of the potential dangers of raising a child around dragons. Once she realizes that Berk was capable of change, Valka deeply regrets her decision to leave her family behind. And it's not like Valka left a helpless Hiccup to fend for himself against a pack of dragons. Hiccup had a great parent who imparted love, wisdom, and knowledge upon him. Gobber. Gobber is always included in the framing of Hiccup's family. He makes parenting decisions with Stoic, he provides Hiccup with emotional support, and after Stoic's death, Gobber takes up the fatherly mantle in Hiccup's life. Gobber is such a great parent because he so easily and readily fills both the mother and father roles. And considering the massive trauma of losing body parts to dragons, Gobber quite easily accepts them after Hiccup's deprogramming. Hiccup gets his love of dragons and exploration from his mother, he gets his loyalty to his people from his father, and he gets his technological know-how from Gobber. Hiccup is able to build dragon training tools and fireproof dragon armor with gliding capabilities. He is even able to restore Toothless's solo flight, all because of Gobber. Also, Gobber and Hiccup are missing legs, literal shared generational trauma. The man behind the boy really is Gobber. Also, the portrayal of fire in this series is fire. Sure, fire is destructive. It can be weaponized. It can also be used as light, as beauty. It can be a defensive tactic, a helpful tool in nesting. Fire can even be used to communicate. Shout out to the lovely end credit animations of the different departments in episode 3. They're very nice. Anyway, I look forward to being brainwashed in the comments. Bye!